Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and glad to see you here this morning in beautiful Berlin. And our topic today is the future internet architecture. And how is life going to be in the future? So let's start and kick in with this topic. So first, what is the main driver for the future? It's the development of computing technology. It's actually the number of compute cycles, the CPU performance, which you can buy for $1,000. And this is developing exponentially. So what does that mean that things develop exponentially? And for that, let's step back a little bit and think about how life normally works. Life normally works linear. Let me do 3 linear steps. 1, 2, 3, huh? Easy. After 3 linear steps, I've made 3 meters. Now let me do 3 exponential steps. 1, 2, 3. See, these are exponential steps, and that's what's happening out there. Compute technology, the number of compute cycles you can buy grows exponentially, and it's growing exponentially since 1900. It's nothing new. It has been continuous to grow according to Moore's law, and all indications are that it will actually continue to grow. So what does that mean? If you look on this chart, then you see for $1,000 in the year 2025, you'll be able to buy the compute power of the human brain. And then if you continue to think in these exponential steps, in the year 2015 or 2100, you will be able to buy the compute power of all of humanity's brains for $1,000. And that's just unbelievable and will have an unbelievable impact on our life. So with this happening, then how is the future actually going to look like? And you hear a lot from technologists how the future looks like. They tell you this or that story, and we actually decided, let's ask the future customers. Let's ask the kids. Let's ask the kids, what the impact of this compute is actually going to be. So we went out and had 373 kids in 5 countries build the future using a methodology called design thinking. There you use tape, you use plastic, you use paper, sellotape to actually build the futures. And these kids were in Seoul, in Singapore, in Stockholm, in Amsterdam, in Frankfurt. And all the kids were saying the same thing. So first they said, connectivity is a human right. And imagine what it means if something is a human right. It's like oxygen, huh? Maybe it means connectivity will be free from the point of view of the kids. Or it needs to be paid for in a different way. Then second, the kids were saying our environment will be smart, and they were envisioning that if you go to the city, what you see in the shop windows will change depending on who stands in front of it. And then even more interestingly, the kids said, cell phones will disappear. Smartphones will disappear. Imagine that. They said smartphones will disappear. And here I'm standing, responsible for innovation at a telephone company, and say smartphones are disappearing. Can you imagine what the reaction in an organization like ours is if somebody appears and says phones will disappear? Unbelievable, isn't it? So some people said, Christian, this must all be bullshit. You did this study with the children of the international elite because those kids are speaking English, and who speaks English in Singapore? Of course, only the kids of the international elite. So I said, good point, let's repeat this. And we repeated it in Xanten, in Traben-Trabach, and in Schlammersdorf in der Oberpfalz. And guess what the results was? Exactly the same. And I brought you a prototype of the successor of the phones. Here it is. You want to see it? Here we go. Here we go. I put it on. Here we go. See, this is how the successor of the phones look like. And now I see three-dimensional objects floating above all of you, telling me from your LinkedIn profiles who you are. Are you Mr. Becker, by the way? Yes, see, it works, huh? Practical test, here it works. So what else were the kids saying? The kids were saying robots will be our personal assistants, drones will deliver goods, and we want to control our data. Why is this so important, what the kids are saying? The kids are the future buyers in 5 to 10 years' time. They are now 10 to 16. In 5 to 10 years' time, they are the buyers. And the buyers are saying exactly the same thing what the technologists are saying. What does that mean? There will be business. So the buyers are here, the technologists are delivering, there will be business. And how is this business going to look like? Let's look into how this business will look like. So for that, let's go a little bit through the evolution of the internet. You see it started with the ARPA-based internet, then we had the web-based internet, we moved on to the application-based internet with Android and iOS as a standard, and now, as you are imagining, we get a new internet. Because if there's a three-dimensional object floating on top of Mr. Becker, all the web pages, all the apps need to be redone. So a next transformation of the internet is coming, the augmented reality, virtual reality-based internet. And this creates an enormous opportunity and at the same time is an enormous risk. Why? In all of these transitions, only a subset of the players made it to the next phase. Think about Nokia or Yahoo. Did they survive very well the transition from the web-based internet to the apps-based internet? Not really. So now we are facing the next transition from the app-based internet to the virtual reality, augmented reality internet. Again, opportunity and risk for all of us. Here, what are the opportunities? What are the risks? One, to build the cognitive internet. And on the other hand, there is the risk of increasing cyber attacks over the various phases. Cyber attacks went dramatically up. So let's dive in a little bit further. Two things need to be done. For this next generation augmented reality internet, we need a standard. Similarly as HTML for the web-based internet, if you want to have these three-dimensional objects floating, is talking to each other, there needs to be a standard. And the internet needs to become way more secure. And let's actually start with the second item. What are the challenges with security and what needs to be done about it? Here we go. If you think about the origins of the internet, there were two basic assumptions. One assumption, trust the endpoint that it actually is who it claims to be. If you get an email from me in the old days, you could actually trust it comes from me. Second, the internet comes from the days of the Cold War. So it actually has been built to connect between items no matter what. And both paradigms are strongly challenged today. Why? Imagine billions of new devices will come online and there will be trillions of connections between those devices. What does that mean? If there is a virus or some form of attack, there are way more connections through which this virus, this infection can spread. So there's a tremendous risk that we get something like the Black Plague in the medieval ages. So these two assumptions, trust the endpoint that it is what it actually claims to be, and establish connections no matter what, they need to be reworked. The answer for that is the new internet paradigm. Let me call this SecureNet. And I've shown you here an example. Let's assume for the time being we have Adam, he's a good guy. We have Betsy, who is a good lady. And Adam wants to send a message from his cell phone to Betsy on her cell phone. With the current internet, guess what? Our friend Kim in North Korea could actually intercept this message and can actually insert his own messages. And with that, potentially Betsy's cell phone and all of Betsy's cell phone's friends can get infected. So yes, what do we need? We need a new form of secure connection between the devices, between endpoints, to actually ensure this black plague from the medieval ages is not going to happen. And this is shown on the right-hand side of this chart. Secure communication between Adam and Betsy, way beyond VPN, way beyond what you can get with today's technology. This is what SecureNet is about. And if you are interested in participating in building SecureNet, defining what it is, then come later to me and we'll talk about it. So then we were talking about this augmented reality internet and why is this needed. And I've brought you a practical example. The practical example is the so-called rescue map. Today, if you have a car and you have a car accident, then if the firefighters are coming to get you out of your crashed car, guess how long it actually takes to get you out of a crashed car? Anybody having an idea how long it takes to cut open your car? Suggestions here in the first row? No? 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So the guess is it takes 30 seconds to get people out of the crashed car. Reality is, it's 1.5 hours. And imagine that you are in a serious condition and it takes 1.5 hours to get you out of the car. Why is this the case? It's the case because today's cars are high-tech cars. There are high voltage lines going through all parts of the car. There are pressure pipes going through all pipes of the car. You can't just take a big knife and cut the car open. No. How this works today, the firefighter comes to the scene of the accident. He looks to the number plate of the car, calls some central agency, gives the central agency the number plate. The number plate, this agency looks up what's the model and build for the car, then looks up in a database where it's possible to cut through the various elements of this car, emails it to the firefighter opens it on his tablets, and then starts to cut it open. So this entire process takes 1.5 hours. If you happen to be, let's say, from Portugal, the likelihood that your car and your number plate is in this database is actually pretty low. So you actually might be up in big trouble. So now imagine how this is going to look like with this new augmented reality internet. You put on your glasses, you see the damaged car, and over on top of the damaged car, you see a projection of all these pressure lines in the car. You see where you can actually cut the car. And this is visualized here on the slide, which you see an overlay of the interior electronics, mechanics, and physics of the car so that the firefighter can actually cut it open. And with that, the time to open a car can get dramatically cut from this 1.5 hours down to, let's say, a more reasonable time. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not only applicable for firefighters, accidents, and so on. Let's imagine the future a little bit further. Let's assume we drive to France. And yes, in this future world, there will be the digital representation of your car. Let's assume you have a BMW. And of course, the digital representation of your BMW spricht Deutsch. And now you drive to a traffic light in France, and this traffic light is the French traffic light from Schneider Electric. And je parle français. Do they talk to each other? Might be a little bit difficult. So what is this story telling us? We need a common language that these digital representation of objects, of cars, of traffic lights, of human beings, that they can actually communicate with each other. This is required to enable this future ecosystem. It's the foundation of the ecosystem. And we believe it's a wonderful opportunity for Europe to take the lead again. Why is this an opportunity for Europe to take a leap? In all of the revolutions of the internet, old players were left behind, new players appeared on the scene, and opportunities to be part of the next generation appeared. So with this upcoming revolution, we actually believe, and we want to invite you all to become part of the Imago ecosystem, which is about building this language and building an exchange platform for these digital twins to enable the future internet. So here I've created for you a personal action list. I always believe if you go to a conference like this and you go home and you have one item which you take home and which you implement in your company, your respective organization, then it was a worthwhile visit. Think about what you heard in this presentation of how the future looks like. First, there will be a new internet, the augmented reality-based internet. The virtual representation of all of the physical objects in this world, like the three-dimensional object on top of Mr. Becker, thank you for volunteering for this, the virtual representation of your car, of traffic lights, of your fridge, and so on. And for sure it's going to apply to your business. So you want to think about if this is an area where you want to take action. Is this something where you want to be part of? Then after this presentation, I'll be here. Please come to me, give me your business card, and then we'll talk about it. Then we learned that the environment will be smart. If you are in retail, if you are in areas where you have customer interaction, where people walk by, if you do products for your home, all this will be smart. Think about if the environment getting more personalized is relevant for your business, and then yes, take away that there's a time to take action. Don't forget the exponential steps. This is coming faster than you might imagine. Robots everywhere. This is first appearing in Japan and will come to Europe as well. Robots everywhere in the service industry. Is this something which is applicable to you in your business? If yes, take this home. Robots will be there. Take action. Drones delivering goods. You heard Mr. Appel talking, clearly an area which will impact us all. And last but not least, automotive, Industry 4.0, wherever equipment is connected, the secure internet. Is this an area which is impacting you? Then yes, take action and later come to me here to be part of the action. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, yes, the future is now. This is an exciting time. Why is this an exciting time? Technologists are saying the same thing as the customers. So buyers are there. Be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reventlow. That is a difficult name to say.
Yeah, Christian. Just say Christian.
Okay, thank you. I'll call you Christian. Christian has been so generous as to make himself available in our Meet the Speakers section. If you walk straight out this door and turn to your right, that's where he'll be. He'll be taking your questions, taking your business cards, maybe taking some of your ideas.
Yes,
I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful. Thank you.
So off you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I take my prototype. Thank you.
Okay, all your gadgets. We appreciate it.